So, hallo, herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Runde Let's Play Zero Escape, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Ja, die 9er-Spiele gehen weiter oder nähern sich dem Finale. Und wir sind jetzt hier gerade in einem weiteren, nachdem, ja, ihr wisst ja, was passiert ist. Wir haben wieder mal Snake aus dem Sarg befreit. Sind jetzt durch die andere Tür 9, zusammen mit Clover und Seven. Wir sind jetzt also zu viert in einem weiteren Raum, für den wir die Uranus-Schlüsselkarte brauchten. Wir müssen aber irgendwie an den Neptun-Schlüssel kommen, der vielleicht hier ist, wir wissen es nicht. Also, diese Folge wird wieder ein Escape Room. The room they found themselves in was full of books.
Wow! It's totally full of books!
There's so many. I don't know where to look.
It looked remarkably like a library. Not the sort of library where large numbers of people came to read books, more the sort of library that was simply a place to store books. He felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of books, but Junpei did his best to speak with authority.
Alright, if we want to get through that door out there, we need the Neptune key. I say we split up and look for it.
Okay.
Very well.
Sure thing.
Good. Let's get started then. We don't have a lot of time. Hurry.
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge. As he began his search for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words float through his mind. Seek a way out. Ich habe doch gesagt, das wird ein Escape Room. Wir sind jetzt in der Bücherei. Wir können uns natürlich erstmal ein bisschen umsehen, was es hier so gibt. Hauptsächlich Bücher. Und hier ist eine Notiz. There's a note on the table. Lights to the books. Huh? What does that mean? Interesting. Well, intelligence often hides itself in darkness. Have you ever thought about the pages of a book? Each page only sees, what, maybe 2 or 3 minutes of light before the reader is on to the next. They spend the rest of their lives locked in darkness. Rather like myself. That's horrible. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining, not at all. I live in the darkness, yes. That has gifted me with the ability to catch the truths others might miss. I can hear the voices hidden in the darkness, you might say. Ja. Okay, Licht zu den Büchern. It's a coat rack. Like a place where you can hang coats and hats and stuff. Well, this one's not too big, so maybe just hats. Gucken wir uns doch mal an, was hier so rumsteht. This book is called a Mind Swap. You mean you could, like, change bodies with someone? Well, I guess I wouldn't mind switching bodies with my brother or Junpei too much, but I'd rather die than let Seven switch with me. What the hell? Like I'd even want to swap bodies with a little brat like.
Hey, you were just imagining it? You were.
Shut up. Yeah, well, he wasn't the only one. Ja gut, Clover, auch wenn das nicht immer so klingt, die ist 18 in diesem Spiel. Übrigens auch eine Sache, die speziell im zweiten Teil eine Bedeutung haben könnte. Dieses Spiel hier spielt 2026 meines Wissens nach. Also in dem Jahr. Teletemporation and telepathy. What the hell is this one about? Well, I know what telepathy is, but I've never heard of teletemporation. It refers to having the ability to travel through time. Okay. Hier kann ich nicht groß was weiter angucken. Kitab al-Azif. Man, they've got some weird stuff here. I can't even pronounce this one.
Who's that? Some famous guy?
It's not a person's name. It's the name of a fictional book created by Abdul al-Hazred. Ich hoffe, dass ich das halbwegs richtig ausspreche. It's said to be one of the sources used in the creation of the legendary Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon.
Oh. So these are all occult books and stuff. This one says The Golden Rabbit and the Moon on it. Does that mean it's about a rabbit that lives on the moon? Rabbits are pretty cute, but what's the moon stuff about?
It's talking about the Judas tree that is said to grow on the moon, according to Chinese legend. Und in Japan ist es so, dass man sagt, also das, im Deutschen redet man zum Beispiel von einem Mann im Mond, in Japan von einem Hasen, warum auch immer. Energy Theory, huh? I don't even understand the damn title. Looks like this shelves all science and technology. Was haben wir hier? Why did mankind lose their tails? Jinpei, do you know what this one's about? Why are you asking me? I didn't even know we had tails to lose. Maybe we should ask a human with a tail. Mankind's ancestors most likely lost their tails as they were no longer useful and the nutrients required to grow them were better put use elsewhere. At least that's what I read. I was rather young. I may have remembered it incorrectly. Huh? Why the hell would a kid be reading a book like that? Na gut. Der Kerl scheint ja recht neugierig zu sein. Gucken wir weiter. Micrographia, huh? Ah yes, Robert Hooke's famous work. First published in 1665. He built a microscope and examined insects, inorganic substances, and other things too small to be seen in detail by human eyes. He then drew pictures of many of the things he'd examined, and published them in a book. I'd hazard a guess this shelf is concerned with natural sciences. Creatures of the South Seas, huh? I wonder if this one's got pictures of colorful fish and stuff.
Paleontology. This one's about fossils, right? Ammonites are pretty nasty looking.
This one says transition of extinct species. We need to hurry it up, or we're going to end up in the pages of a book like that. Introduction to geology, huh? Thinking about the Earth, even when you're on the ocean. Kinda romantic in a way, I guess. Mein Hals wird gerade ein bisschen trocken, zum Glück will ich was zu trinken hier stehen. Mother Nature. Is that some sort of book about hippie chicks? Probably not, except perhaps tangentially. It's most likely about environmental protection. I was just trying to make a joke. Do it, hippie chicks? Really? Och ja. The Theory of Evolution. Heck, even I know this one. This that Darwin guy, right? Well, yes and no. Charles Darwin wrote a book called On the Origin of the Species. In it he put forth his theory of evolution. Yeah, I remember that part, he called it natural selection. Exactly. Theories of the Cambrian explosion? Did a bomb go off near somewhere called Cambria? Wrong kind of explosion. Roughly 500 million years ago, during what is known as the Cambrian period, research suggests that the variety of living organisms increased by an order of magnitude. Why that happened is, however, still something of a mystery. There are a number of theories. This book is most likely a collection of them. Entschuldigung, ich muss mal einen Schluck trinken, ansonsten geht mein Hals komplett den Bach runter. Gute alte Apfelschorle. Ne, hier waren wir noch nicht. Are property values going up out in space too these days? Man, guess times are tough for aliens too.
This one says cosmic inflation.
Oh nein! Kosmische Inflation, ja, bei denen geht das Geld auch, also für das alles seinen Wert. Die oberen kann ich nicht ansehen.
Quantum gravity. Seven, do you have any idea what this is?
How about you start by using real words? Then maybe we'll get somewhere. Supersymmetric string theory and 10-dimensional spacetime. Ugh. They're just talking about superstring theory. It's a theory of reality where, how to explain? It says that all elements of the universe are governed by the vibrations and harmonics of tiny supersymmetric strings. What's this? An overview of conformational field theory. Oh well, it's a theory that persists in invariant quantum field where conformal transformation can take place. Knock it off with this science voodoo stuff. You're trying to put me to sleep. Theory of general... Ach, das hatten wir. Ach nee, no, doch nicht. Theory of general relativity,
Oh, I know this one. That's Einstein, right?
Ja, okay. Ah, hier können wir was machen. One of these books is not like the others. One of these books doesn't belong. Hä? What's the deal with these titles? They're all just gibberish. Wenn wir durchgucken. Payu, Nedb, Of. Ja.
Hey, what if we, like, switch them around?
Switch them around?
Yeah. If we move them around, maybe they'll spell something.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, heck, it's worth a shot. Wie könnten wir die bloß umordnen? Open here, find bulb. Was auch immer das heißen soll. How about this? Looks like putting those books in the right order opened this thing right up. Heh, that was a piece of cake.
Hooray! You did it, Junpei.
I guess that turned out well enough.
So the letters from the title spell out Open here, find bulb.
Ja, das finden wir eine Glühbirne. Powerful light bulb.
This light bulb looks like it's brand new. And it's really big, so it'll make a lot of light.
Haben wir sonst überall geguckt hier? Nee, hier glaube ich noch, oder? Ja, das hatten wir schon. Hatten wir da geguckt? Ach ja, Full of Books sonst. Ja, dann haben wir hier überall geguckt. Schauen wir hier weiter. Energy Theory, ja, Interactions between shortwave energy and matter. What else we've got?
Just listening to you read those titles is giving me a headache.
Can't say fancy technology stuff and I get along really well. Keep on talking about that stuff and you're gonna put me to sleep. Ach, hier waren... gut, das hatten wir. The Black Hole Hypothesis. Gamma Ray Astrophysics. I guess this bookshelf has an astronomy theme. Was hatten wir hier? Ach, das sieht bekannt aus. Ach nee, A History of Buddhism.
Look, this one says Cultural Heritage of Rome.
But that's gonna be serious inheritance tax. Ernsthaft. Permian creatures? Seems a little fancy for some kind of prehistoric critter. Not to mention most of them were likely reptiles and amphibians. Without hair, I can't imagine they had much need of perms. That's got nothing to do with this.
What's this? Hellenism?
I think it's something like a fusion of Greek and Oriental culture. Ist, glaube ich, gerade in der Klassik irgendwie besonders beliebt geworden. A kid's book here? It looks like it's a children's story about Native Americans.
Don't you think a random book like that is kind of suspicious? Maybe you ought to hold on to it.
Book. Cowboys and Indians. This one has some Native Americans on the cover. Oh, nee, 7. This one has some Native Americans on the cover. Hey, Junpei, take a look at this one. Native Americans, huh? Maybe it's got some... Whoa! Pop-up book. What's that? This one's them pop-up... Nee, this one... this one of them pop... This one of them pop-up books. Verdammt, warum muss der auch mit so einem Akzent sprechen? Oder Dialekt? LRK? That doesn't mean anything. Does it? Well, you could make him like Curl or Carl. Ich sehe da überhaupt kein R. Wenn, dann kann man damit Kill formen und das ist auch nicht unbedingt besser. Hier waren wir noch nicht.
A history of the medieval period. Maybe it's about Sir Lancelot?
Isn't he just a story? I don't think you're gonna find a guy who didn't really exist in a history book.
Oriental history. Maybe this one's about China, 4,000 years of history or something.
Hey, Chinese history and Oriental history aren't the same thing. This one's called History of the Western World. Well, I'd assume it's about European history. Yeah. Just gonna leave it at that, Snake. Doesn't seem like you. Hey, look at this. This book's called Greek Mythology. Damn, that thing's huge. Can't imagine anyone's actually read the whole thing. Pretty sure it just put me to sleep. Okay, gucken wir weiter. Haben wir hier irgendwas Neues? Ach ja, das hatten wir schon. Dann hier weiter. Principles of Monkey Behavior, huh? I'd imagine that's a book describing praxeology studies on monkeys. Monkeys are very similar to humans evolutionarily, so I imagine the research was fruitful.
Oh look, Seven, here's a book that perfects you.
Yeah, that's perfect for you.
It's called Correlation of Muscle, Bone Density and Bone Strength.
You're just saying that cause it says muscle. This book is just called Dissection. This bookshelf must be in all medical books. From what I can tell, it sounds as though these books have been organized by genre. This library must be massive. I'm rather impressed by how well organized it is. Human equilibrium theory. Human anatomy.
Regeneration of internal organs. This one, it looks just like the picture book from earlier, the one with the pop-ups.
You think they're part of a series or something? They do have the same binding. Book. There's a
baseball in this one. Come on, Junpei, let's see what's in it.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's probably baseball stew. Wow. Nee, Stuff wollte er wahrscheinlich sagen. Das sieht jetzt nach Head aus.
This is a pop-up book. It's got the letters H, E, A, D popping out of it.
Functions of the human brain, huh? I guess this is a book about the nervous system. I'd love to ask you to read it to me, but I don't think we have the time.
I'm kind of curious about it too. There's gotta be a reason why people connect with each other, you know?
Dissection Atlas, huh? This whole shelf is full of medical books. Look, this one's called Recreation of Lost Human Functions. You think they're talking about if you, like, lose part of your body, then you could grow it back? I don't think so. Maybe they're talking about reconstructing abilities that humankind once possessed. In other words, they may be talking about cultivating a sixth sense. Sixth sense, genau so. Sixth ist auch ein Scheißwort. Ancient gladiators. What's this book doing here? Maybe they were researching human physical limits across history. Haben wir hier schon geguckt? Automated robotic assembly line techniques, huh?
What's that? Some sort of comic book? Geez, I guess boys really like that stuff, huh?
No, you're thinking of a different sort of robot. This book is talking about automated machinery that's used to build things like cars. What's that one called? It says Foundations of DNA and Genetic Engineering. Oh, das ist mein Fachgebiet, ich bin ja Biologe. Also speziell. Ja, ich studiere böse Gentechnik. Communication and Computer Science, huh? That's a pretty generic title. To be honest, it's so vague I don't really know what it might be about. An overview of photochemistry?
I think whoever set this up wanted us to see the cover, not the spine. Let's look at it, okay?
Huh? Looks like there's a whole lot of space behind these books.
Look, Junpei. I think there's something hidden behind the books.
Powerful light bulb. This is a brand new light bulb. Looks like a pretty high wattage one too. Ja, ordentlich Watt drauf. Hier kann ich nicht gucken. Schade. Haben wir hier noch was Neues? This book is called Principles of Monkey Behavior. Das hatten wir doch schon. Oder? Ja. Hier? Ja, dann haben wir jetzt hier alle durch. Wir können runter. Jetzt geht's hier weiter. Was haben wir hier? That kind. What the hell is this? Wasn't that a German... Ach, that kind heißt er dann wahrscheinlich. Wasn't that a German mathematician? Maybe it's a compilation of his work. Owen, huh? Owen isn't enough to go on. Perhaps about the English Revolutionary? Leibniz?
This book's in German. It looks like it's the complete works of something.
I've never heard of it. Well, if Snake doesn't know what it is, I don't think we'll ever know.
Sheldrake?
Sheldrake. Isn't Sheldrake... It says Sheldrake on the spine of this book. It's got the volume number written on the lower part of the spine. Algebraic number theory. Math, huh? There's another one like that over here. You mean something like primary number theory or analytical number theory or geometry?
Oh my gosh, how did you know? Nobody said anything about those.
Well, number theory is usually split into 4 chief disciplines. If there was a book named Algebraic Number Theory, I'd take a wild guess that the other 3 would be there as well. Looks like I was right. The Pythagorean Theorem. This is a famous one. Sounds like there are a number of math books in this section. Also Pythagoras Theorie in so einem Kram. This one's Goldbach's Conjecture. Conjecture? What's it about? Like magic or psychic stuff or something? Right, I bet it's about jewelry, isn't it? It may have an odd title, but it's actually a very respectable mathematics book. It deals with one of the unsolved problems of additive number theory. Sorry I said anything. Look, let's not get into this right now, okay?
That's a weird book, Junpei. Indian mathematics. That's funny.
Why is that funny?
It says Riemann hypothesis. What is that hypothesis about a...
Riemann was... Ugh.
Isn't it pretty straightforward?
Heavens no, there are many factors. Length, girth, lubrication or lack of. It's an exciting and rapidly growing field.
Wow.
Das war gerade aber sehr zweideutig gesprochen. Okay, hier steht nichts anderes. Was haben wir hier noch? What's this? Origin of Japanese folklore? Looks like there's a bunch of books about Japanese culture here. Mostly ones about folklore though. Well, folklore can cover a wide range of subjects. History, urban life, religious trends, environmental changes, oral traditions. Folklore can cover all those things if you know where to look.
This looks pretty deep.
Agriculture and historical organizations and folklore. Modern Japanese literature, huh? Hey, there's another one in those picture books here. Something about these things feels kinda nice, you know? Brings back good memories.
I guess even people like Seven were kids once.
No shit, you little brat. Hey guys, cool it. Alright, I think I'm gonna take this picture book with me. It's got a magic wand on it. Okay. So, what's inside? Well, aren't you going to open it? Pretty sure it's just gonna have some pages inside smarter... Whoa! Looks like another pop-up book. This book has an S, an E, a dash, and a number 5 sticking out of it. I might be impressed if dash was 5. I mean, if I was 5. Ah, das ist nicht Dash, das ist einfach nur ein kursives I. I might be impressed if I was 5. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. So many books here. I wonder what this one's... Whoa, what's this? Warm?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Hey, what's the deal with this sappy stuff? A bunch of books on folklore and myth here. Schauen wir mal dieses Ding hier an. This bookshelf has sort of a glass linery. It's pretty big, but there's only 6 books on it. That seems kinda weird.
Hey, it looks like there's something on the bottom. I can't really see it though, the glass is all foggy.
Awesome, there's a lock on this glass door. Yep, won't budge. Ja, wir müssen da irgendwie einen Schlüssel für kriegen. This iron plate is bolted down. I don't think it's a door, I think it's just a wall. Was haben wir hier? There are books here in all sorts of languages. There's something suspicious about the shelf on the left. Ja gut, das haben wir uns angesehen. Hier waren wir auch schon und hier können wir, glaube ich, nur die Treppe hoch. Ja. Aber wir können uns das hier in der Mitte mal ansehen. Was haben wir denn hier? It's a small enclosure with 9 sides. There are 3 of those things that look kind of like music stands. Okay, how about we try putting these picture books on the stands? Then...
This is a little weird.
Wir haben, glaube ich, nur... Ja, wir haben nur 2, wir brauchen aber mehr... There are 3 lights in this thing. They aren't very bright, though. Hey, didn't we find some kind of really powerful light bulb earlier? Why don't you put it into one of those lights?
Yeah, well, it'll get a lot brighter, huh?
But if there are 3 lights, that means 3 light bulbs. There won't be much point unless we replace all 3 bulbs. We need 3 light bulbs, huh? Irgendwo gibt es dann wohl noch eine und ich habe sie übersehen. Vielleicht hier oben irgendwo? This big opening is the door to the library. It's pretty impressive, almost looks like the door is to a shrine or a church or something. There's another door after it, and then a passageway beyond that. At the end of that passageway is a door with the Neptune symbol engraved on it. Hurry up, we need to find the key with the mark of Neptune.
Okay. This sounds like a job for the best brother and sister team in the world.
Man, it's like 7 and I don't even exist. Habe ich vielleicht irgendwo was übersehen? Ich gucke mir nochmal das an. There's a note on top of the table. It says lights to the books. Ja, was könnte das bloß bedeuten bei dem, was wir gerade versuchen? Aber irgendwo muss es doch noch eine Glühbirne geben. Ja, hier haben wir gefunden. Da war ja nur Open Here, Find Bulb. Greek Mythology, Hellenism. Oder habe ich unten irgendwas übersehen? Das könnte auch sein. Down to the bottom floor. Und hier gibt es irgendwas, was abgeschlossen ist, so wie es aussieht. Ach, warte mal. In the middle of the glass door is a cylinder lock. You know, the kind of lock where you rotate numbers around until you've got the right ones to open it. But what the hell is this? It's like they just gave us the answer. Guess I might as well give it a shot. Ja. Die Antwort ist hier. Also 6, 8, 2, 4, 1, 5. Müsste stimmen. Warte, 6, 8, 2, 4, 1, 5. 6, 8, 2, 4, 1, 5. Ach Mist, ich bin viel zu weit. 6, 8, 2, 4, 1, 5. Warte, Hint? Ach nee, 6. Ach, das ist eine 3. Klack.
You did it, Junpei! Yay!
I don't know why, but I don't really feel particularly happy about being praised for that. Whatever. At least the lock's open now. Let's see if we can get it open, alright? Hier dürfte noch die dritte Glühbirne drin liegen. Yep. Powerful light bulb. All 6 books seem to be pointing at the cylinder number lock. Ja. Jetzt können wir hier nämlich die Glühbirnen reinschmeißen. Alright, so there are 3 lights in here. I'm gonna change these bulbs. Now they should...
Awesome! It worked.
Way to go, Junpei. Good job, buddy.
There's something projecting on the bottom.
These letters, they seem familiar.
Sheldrake 5?
I think I saw the rest of this collection somewhere.
Oh, wir sind im Adventure Screen. So. Junpei read the text out loud. So.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around here.
Let's go take a look.
Okay.
Seven and Clover walked off, leaving Junpei and Snake behind.
Sheldrake.
Have you heard of him? Sheldrake, I mean.
Junpei grinned.
Yeah, Lotus told me about him.
There's a British biochemist named Sheldrake. He has a rather interesting theory. Morphogenetic fields, which relies on the theory of morphic resonance.
Really? From Lotus, huh?
Well, Clover also said something to me about that stuff.
She did?
Yeah, what was it?
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger.
That girl. I told her not to tell anyone.
You did? Why?
Well...
Junpei's eyes narrowed.
Look, man, I didn't push it because we're in a hurry, but I'm kind of sick of this. How about you just tell me, okay?
Tell you what?
Don't give me that. About the experiment.
Snake's shoulders slumped, and he shook his head slowly.
Ugh.
He'd finally given up.
Very well, fine. I'll tell you everything. But not here. Let's move to the top floor.
Junpei nodded. With that, they climbed the stairs to the top floor. Snake was silent for a moment after they arrived, then finally crossed his arms and spoke.
I suppose I might as well start by telling you why I kept quiet, and why I made sure Clover did as well. To be honest, the explanation is quite simple. Zero told me not to. I had little choice. He didn't walk up and tell me, of course. He gave me a message engraved on a card.
Snake reached into his sleeve and pulled out a small, stiff piece of paper.
That's a Braille card. It looks just like the one you showed us earlier. So you had 2 cards.
No, only one.
Huh? What do you mean? I thought that card just had some rules for the nonary game on it.
Yes, it did. And those were the rules I read you. However, they were not the only thing on the card. There was something I didn't read. Well, perhaps I should say there was something I couldn't read.
And that was?
Tell no one of the events that took place 9 years ago. Tell, and I activate your sister's detonator. It's a threat on our lives.
Oh. Well,
Snake nodded.
Well, what about Clover? Did she get a message from Zero too?
I don't believe she did. But doesn't it strike you as strange that Zero would shut my mouth, but not hers?
Yeah.
To be on the safe side, however, I told her it was best not to tell anyone. Still, apparently she told you. That girl.
What's wrong with her telling me? I figured some stuff out with the things she told me. I mean, it looks like the whole activate her detonator thing was just a bluff. She's prancing around downstairs happy as a clam now that you're back.
Happy as a clam ist auch ein, finde ich, sehr interessantes, ist eine Redewendung, die ich sehr interessant finde. Im Deutschen gibt es ja auch sich freuen wie ein Schnitzel, da frage ich mich, welches Schnitzel hat sich schon mal gefreut. So, Snake glanced down at Clover and Seven, examining one of the bookshelves.
That's very true. I've decided I can trust you. I've decided to tell you the truth. The chance that Santa is Zero is very high. I feel I can assume Santa doesn't have the time to observe us at the moment. And at any rate, even if he were, I very much doubt he would kill us.
Why?
Clover told me about the four-leaf clover, about the words. If he knew about that, then he was in my group during the first experiment. I'm sure of it. He wouldn't kill us, no matter what the situation was.
Snake paused and cocked his head, as though he was listening to something very far away. His face looked dark, as though something was weighing on him.
Hey, Snake?
Junpei wasn't quite sure what to say. Snake turned and looked at him.
Yes, I know. You want to know what happened during the experiment.
Yeah.
How much do you know?
Clover told me about...
I see. The morphogenetic field in the experiments 9 years prior. How the experiments had taken place simultaneously at 2 locations, one being the ship and the other being a building in Nevada.
Damit haben wir also noch mal eine kurze Zusammenfassung.
And the girl that died during the experiment.
Ja gut, das gehört noch dazu.
She told you all that, did she?
Snake looked down, his face was tight. A slight tremor shook his body, and he tried to hide it. He was putting on a good front, but even Junpei could tell that he was holding back something deep and powerful. He made as if to brush something from his face, and looked up at Junpei.
At any rate, I now know how much you've learned. All that remains for us to determine
is who did this and why, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yes.
Snake nodded slowly.
The people who organized the initial experiment were from a company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Das wussten wir schon.
There were 4 of them running the show. Gentaro Hongo, Nagisa Nijisaki, Teruaki Kubota, Kagachika Musashido. Hongo was the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Yep, Ace, wie wir wissen.
Nijisaki was his right-hand man and did the lion's share of the planning. Kubota led the company's research and development division. Musashido was their majority stockholder. It was these 4 people who planned the initial experiment. Let me simplify it for you. Hongo designed it, and Nijisaki put it all together. Kubota developed the technology required, and Musashido provided the cash.
So it's Hongo, Nijisaki, Kubota, Musashido...
Junpei couldn't shake the sense that he had heard those 4 names somewhere before. Ja, nur nicht in dieser Zeitlinie.
Of course, more than 4 people were required to conduct an experiment of this scale. To that end, they organized a top-secret team to assist them with their research. All in all, they gathered 10 people or so. Those 10 completed their team, and they were able to begin the project. They named it the Nonori Project. The purpose of the experiment was to research the prospect of controlling a human mind through sheer will. The vessel, I suppose you could say, for this control was the morphogenetic field. Why did the glycerin suddenly begin to crystallize? Why did the crystal structure of EDT undergo a sudden change? Why did the rats improve their puzzle-solving skills with each generation? Experiments with humans produce the same results. The more people who knew the answer to a question, the more there were who could answer correctly without having seen the problem before. Why is that? How could it happen? The answer is that the shape of the answer has been stored in a field invisible to the naked eye. And through that field, the resonant event transmits information related to that answer. That's essentially the idea behind morphogenetic fields.
But that's just a theory.
Can't bring yourself to believe it?
Yeah.
Let's say someone killed another person because the devil told them to do it. Whether the devil exists or not has no relevance to the murder. They believe the devil exists. Whether or not he does is immaterial.
So what matters here is that Hongo believed in the morphogenetic field.
That's right.
Snake nodded.
But I still don't get it. You said they wanted to figure out how to control people, right? That is what you were saying.
Yes.
So how are they going to do that with a morphogenetic field?
I'll keep it simple. Let's suppose 10,000 people have solved a certain problem. The chance of you knowing that answer, even if no one has told you, will go up. Let's have another example, shall we? Say 1 million people were to do a handstand right now. Tomorrow, the chances of you doing a handstand would be higher, even if you had heard nothing of this hypothetical mass handstanding. Mankind's thought process and actions are all part of a resonant event. All of the resonant events encoded in the fields are projected onto you. Of course, this assumes you believe in this theory. Do you follow so far?
Yeah.
Now, if there was a person who had the same effect as those millions of people, what would happen? If that one person were to do a handstand, other people would find themselves wanting to do handstands as well. Can you imagine what a person with powers like that would be able to do?
Come on, there's no way.
I'm not done. Imagine another scenario. Imagine another person. This is an ordinary person. Let's say he does a handstand. What if there was someone who could grab the resonant event he created by doing that and use it to make other people do handstands? What would happen then? A person who has the power to write to the field, and someone who can read from the same. You could think of them as the writer and the reader, or the transmitter and the receiver. What would the world be like if there were people with abilities like these?
Junpei thought about it for a moment.
So the transmitter's resonant event can be transmitted through the field and sent to the receiver. And then the transmitter can control the receiver however they wish.
Das könnte man so interpretieren.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, close enough at least.
Come on, that's just crazy.
Well, if you want to prove that, then you'll have to test it first. At least, that was how they thought. That was why they decided to do their experiment. That was how the Nonary project began.
Snake suddenly looked very serious.
By the way, Junpei, have you ever heard of the Gansfeld experiment?
Junpei cleared his throat and tried to act calm.
Yeah, that was an experiment in telepathy, right? You place a pair of subjects in separate rooms. Then you show one a picture and ask the other what they see.
Interesting. I'm impressed. Yes, that is exactly correct.
So, why did you bring up the Gansfeld experiment?
It was used to screen subjects for the Nonary project. The hospital in a remote town was affiliated with Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Hongo used it to conduct experiments on visiting children in secret. Some of them, he found, had potential. He began to gather children that showed promise. Children that seemed as though they might be able to access the field. Of course, none of them volunteered. They were kidnapped.
His face barely moved as he spoke.
There were 9 pairs of siblings taken, for 18 children total. For reasons that were not fully understood at the time, each pair had 1 transmitter and 1 receiver. They were split perfectly. As such, the 18 children were split into 2 groups of 9. The children who were put into Group Q were the ones who excelled at transmitting. They were transferred to the mock experiment building known as Building Q in the Nevada desert. The children who excelled at receiving were put in Group A. Group A was then placed on the former hospital ship Gigantic. From the experiments he had conducted so far, Hongo had learned the following. There are 2 things that can increase one's resonance with the fields. The first is epiphany. The other is danger. Have you ever been faced with an especially difficult problem and thought about it very long and very hard until finally an answer suddenly appeared in your mind? It may seem obvious to say so, but that is what is meant by epiphany.
Ja, Eingebung wäre das deutsche Wort. Und bisher wissen wir, also es gibt ein Experiment, oder es gab ein Experiment mit 18 Kindern. Und nach diesem Modell in der Einteilung von Empfängern und Sendern, könnte man sagen. Ja, gehen wir weiter.
The information obtained through that epiphany can be easily transmitted through the fields, where it can be easily interpreted. Adding danger to that equation allows for even easier field access. That's where Hongo came in. They set up a number of puzzles across the Gigantic. The participants had to solve each one before they could move to the next room. Of course, he hadn't forgotten to include danger. He had detonated a bomb on the hull of the Gigantic. The children in Group A were forced to play the nonary game as the ship sunk. By forcing the children into a life-or-death situation, Hongo hoped to increase the likelihood of their tapping into the fields. The children from Group Q, on the other hand, were confined to the mock experiment building, Building Q. Building Q duplicated the interior and puzzles of the Gigantic exactly. Every detail was exactly the same. Hongo explained the situation to the children in Group Q. Solve the puzzles you find throughout the rooms. When you have the answers, transmit that information to the children in Group A. If you succeed, they will be able to solve the puzzles and escape. But if you fail, then the Gigantic will sink, and your brothers and sisters will drown. Those were his orders. Do you know why the astronauts of Apollo 13 were able to return to Earth safely? It was because NASA had access to a replica of the Apollo 13 capsule. All of the equipment, the instruments, everything. All of it identical. Everything was just like the real Apollo 13. NASA was able to replicate the situation the astronauts found themselves in. By putting themselves in the same situation, they attempted to solve the problems the astronauts were dealing with. Once they found solutions, they reported their findings to the men aboard the actual capsule. That was how they were able to return safely. It was the same with the Gigantic and Building Q. The children from Group Q had to use the power of epiphany to solve the puzzles they found and transmit what they learned through the fields. The children in Group A, however, they had to access the fields to learn how they might advance to the next stage. That is the simplest explanation I can manage.
Snake sounded defeated. His half-hearted attempt at derision ist, glaube ich, jetzt die richtige Aussprache, served only to show how much the story had affected him. Just as Junpei was about to speak...
Hey, Junpei, Snake! How much longer are you two gonna sit around on those bony asses? Get down here already!
Seven's voice echoed up from below. Snake took a deep breath and blinked rapidly, as if just waking up from a long nap.
He's right. Let's go, shall we? We don't have much time. We need to get out of here, and soon.
Snake headed for the stairs, but Junpei put out an arm to stop him.
Hold it. There's one more thing I want to ask you.
Hmm?
Are you sure that there were 18 kids?
Why?
Well, I thought it was only 16.
Oh, yes. That was what they said on the news, wasn't it? Yes, I have no doubt that 18 children were abducted and used in Hongo's experiment. After all, you couldn't exactly play a nonary game with any less, could you?
Well, yeah, but are you saying that the news got it wrong?
Yes, I am. There were 2 more children. However, they had no relatives that I'm aware of. I imagine no one filed a police report when they went missing. They were brother and sister, like Clover and I. The brother's name was Aoi. The sister's name was... her name was...
Snake couldn't seem to bring himself to continue. It looked as if if what he was about to say brought him great pain.
Her name was Akane. That was the girl who... died.
Junpei felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. His vision went blurry and his head felt light.
Akane Kurashiki died 9 years ago? Then, who is June? No. That's impossible. It can't be true. Akane isn't that uncommon of a name.
Hat recht, in Japan ist das ein relativ häufiger Name.
If Snake had known her last name, that's a different matter entirely. So they share a name. A lot of other people do too. It doesn't mean anything. It was someone else. Of course it was. It has to be.
Junpei shook his head hard and pulled himself back to reality.
Is something wrong, Junpei? Your breathing sounds strange.
Then Snake had noticed. Junpei cleared his throat and tried to act calm.
Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm fine. Let's get back down there, alright?
Snake raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He headed down the stairs, Junpei bringing up the rear.
I couldn't do it. Why didn't I ask? What's her last name? I just couldn't get the words to come out.
With every step he took, the cold, hard sound of feet against metal dug at his heart. Ja, haben wir jetzt einige sehr interessante Sachen erfahren. Es ist jemand gestorben, wir wissen, ein Mädchen namens Akane. Zusätzlich war dort ihr Bruder Aoi. Bitte, sprecht das nie als Aoi aus, wie das in diesem Spiel ständig der Fall ist. Das heißt ja auch Akane und nicht Akane. Warum müssen japanische Namen überall betont werden? Auf jeden Fall könnt ihr da gerne mal in die Kommentare schreiben, was ihr davon haltet. Wenn das tatsächlich die Akane ist, die ihr von früher kennt, wenn die vor 9 Jahren gestorben ist, wer ist dann June? Wie ist das erklärbar? Also Sheldrake 5 hieß es. Sheldrake, this is it. This is what the shadow picture was pointing to.
But didn't it say 5 at the end of Shadow Picture?
Yes, I think we need to find the 5th volume. Well, would you look at that? There's a big red button behind this book. I guess we should press this button. Whoa! Fancy!
What was that sound?
It sounded like something really big was moving.
It came from the top floor.
Alright, let's go check it out. Jo, dann erstmal rauf die Treppe. Was haben wir denn da? Erstmal hier. There's a keyboard in front of the numbers. And there are 4 Roman numerals on the wall. It's gotta be a hint of some sort. Ja. 13, 14, 10 und 13 wieder. Those are all Roman numerals.
Do you think we just need to put in the numerals from the wall on the keyboard?
No, you can't. The keyboard doesn't have any number keys. You can't type in stuff like 3 or 4. Then that means... Ja, ich habe eine Idee. Ich glaube, ich weiß noch, was gefragt ist. Gucken wir weiter. It's a thick metal door. There's a handle in the middle of it, though. Alright, this handle's gonna open the door for me. Man, doesn't matter how hard we pull, this thing isn't going anywhere. Looks like it's probably locked. Wer hätte das erwartet? Ist das hier anders? It's a thick metal door. There's a handle in the middle of it, though. Come on, door, open. Nothing. I might as well try to open a wall. I know you're feeling kind of rushed. But you do realize that's pointless, do you? It's not going to get you anywhere. There's only one thing we can do. Let's go. So, was können wir hier tun? Was ist hier sonst noch? This looks like an output monitor. But the letters you type in on the keyboard will show up here. Gehen wir mal durch. Wir haben 13, 14, 10 und 13. Wenn wir nach dem bisher sehr häufig vorkommenden Zählsystem, also A als 10 zum Beispiel gehen, haben wir A, B, C, D, E. Das heißt E, F. Nee, warte, E, F, A, E ergibt keinen Sinn, oder? Ich probier's mal.
Well, I bet you gotta type something on that keyboard.
Yeah, but you can only enter letters.
And it looks like you only enter 4 letters.
Let's see how it works. I guess you need to hit enter once to type in the letters. And you can erase what you typed with control. Okay. I got the basic operations. Let's give it a shot. Also, wahrscheinlich jetzt komplett falsch. Error. Hint. Erstmal 13. 14, 10, 13. Moment, 13. Ich geh's. Ach, ich bin voll Idiot. D-E-A-D. Ich habe mich einfach komplett vertan gerade. Dead.
Yay! You did it, Junpei. It's unlocked now.
Good job, Junpei. Whoa there, don't get too excited. The password was dead, remember? Just makes me think whatever's waiting for us isn't good.
So what? Jeez, you're such an old lady. We can't be worrying about stuff like that. I mean, come on. We got it to unlock, didn't we? Let's go, hurry up.
Okay, durch welche Tür gehen wir? Spielt keine Rolle. Alright, Handle, it's time we got this over with. Damn it. I can't get it open. This thing won't even budge. What? Why not? We put in the password. What else do we have to do?
Then that means...
It's the other door. Alright, let's get this thing open. Na also geht doch. Die Folge geht ja auch schon lange genug. You found it. The door opened. Und was hier jetzt passiert, das sehen wir in der nächsten Folge. Ich speichere kurz. Und ich hoffe jedenfalls, euch gefällt das. Langsam wird es ja sehr interessant. Also, wer ist June? Ist eine wichtige Frage. Was hat Santa mit der Sache zu tun? Er war ja augenscheinlich in der Gruppe von, wie heißt, warte, zumindest, ja stimmt, er war, wie Clover gesagt hat, in der Gruppe von Snake. Also also auf der tatsächlichen sinkenden Gigantic. Ansonsten kann man noch viel theoretisieren. Ich bin auf eure Theorien gespannt. Vielleicht kommen auch schon Leute auf die richtige Idee, aber jetzt stellt sich die Frage auch, ist dieses Sender-Empfänger-Zeug wirklich genau richtig? Man kann drüber diskutieren, denke ich. Auf jeden Fall freue ich mich auf die nächsten Folgen. Nächste Folge dürfte wieder ein Escape Room kommen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Ach ja, Däumchen wäre ein Träumchen, wenn es euch gefallen hat. Cheerio!